God damn. So I just got done watching The Last of Us Episode 5, Endure and Survive, which was taken out of the comic book in the Last of Us series. If you played not the series, the game. If you played the game, then you should know that it's a little comic book that you can get throughout the game. You can collect them because Ellie reads them. If you can try and collect them all, and you get an achievement for it, and you can give them to Ellie at the end of the game. I'm pretty sure you can. I don't know though. But this was a heartbreaking episode of The Last of Us, and here are my thoughts. Starting my thoughts on this episode of The Last of Us, but like I said, this was a very sad episode. This was very emotional between Henry and Sam, where we don't get to see much of them in the game, where you just get little hints of them. That you know that they're brothers. I almost said brother and brother, but you can get a hint that they're both brothers, which they say in the game, but other than that, you don't know much about them. And also, when you first meet them, they say that they said that their group had the bright idea to pass through the city to get to the other side of town and all that. And then they think they're dead and they're all alone, and then they think Joel and Ellie can help them. But in this one, you finally get to see more about them, kind of like Bill's character in The Last of Us Episode 3. In this one, you get to see more of Henry and Sam, where you just get to see like what they did to get into the city and why people want them dead and all that. Like in this one, Kathleen wants Henry dead because of something that he did to her brother and all of that. And you finally get what happened, that Sam was dying of some kind of disease. I can't remember what it was, but the way to get the medicine that he needed to give information about Kathleen's brother to give him away so he can help Sam, which was a very emotional scene to see that Henry's willing to do anything for Sam because this is his brother. And he's willing to do anything for his brother just so he can survive. And later in the episode, Kathleen wants to kill Henry and Sam, but he's just like, dude, he's just a kid. Can't kill him. He's like, you think your brother is more important than mine and all that? But she's not seeing the side where this is the world they have to live in. They both have to survive, and they're both protecting the ones that they love. She doesn't see his side on it, but a lot of us fans know. And then when you finally get to the scene where all of us Last of Us fans were just waiting for it just to happen and just to break out in tears, is when Sam has been bitten by infected. And and Henry, like they're escaping this giant horde of infected, which was an awesome scene, which I will talk about soon. And they escape all this, they think they survive, and then Sam actually shows Ellie in this version of The Last of Us that he has been bitten. But Ellie believes that her blood is the medicine to this world, that her blood is the cure. But us Last of Us fans know that was not true. Because when I was watching this, I was instantly just going, it's not the cure. That's not how that works. Maybe just because I'm a hardcore fan, I don't know. But yeah, and then when she cuts open her hand and smears it all over Sam's leg, and then the next morning he has turned, and then Henry shoots at Joel to stay away from his brother. He's trying to protect his brother, and he tells him to stay the fuck away from him, pretty much. But then, out of reflexes, pretty much, protect Ellie in a way. He turns and shoots Sam, and then the entire room just goes quiet. And Henry takes a breath and just realizes what he has just done. And it was a very emotional, where he's just like, oh, fuck. Like, he's like saying that it was all Joel's fault in a way. Like in the game, he was saying it was just all his fault that Sam is dead. And like, he's going, he's saying all this stuff like he was supposed to protect him. Like, Sam was his purpose in surviving and protecting him. Like Bill in episode 3. He, Bill killed both him and Frank because Frank was dying, he wanted to die. Bill killed himself too because Frank was his purpose to live. But in this one, Henry kills himself. He realizes what he has done, and kills himself because he does not want to live with the fact that he just killed his brother, even though we all know that's not his brother anymore. And it's just a punch in the gut how emotional that is. And I remember when I was playing the game, and when that happened for the first time, when I was first playing the game for the first time, that happened, I was like, oh my god, dude, that was just a punch in the fucking stomach, man. Now, this was a scene taken right out of the game of The Last of Us, and that is the sniper scene, where when you're traveling with Henry and Sam, you get to this one section of the town where there's a sniper in this one house at the other side of the street, and it's shooting at you, and you have to try and make your way to there. It was a scene taken right out of the game, but in the game there was more people coming after you because course there was, but in this one, they're just shooting at you. It's just this one guy. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the sniper scene, I'm pretty sure that might have been an Easter egg to The Last of Us Part 2. Now, in The Last of Us Part 2, Owen, which was Abby's friend, played the game, where he was talking about a Scar. He killed one of his own members, like he killed a wolf, which was the team that he was on. And then Scars were people that are coming after those guys and all that. I don't know. I'm gonna talk more about that when I review the Last of Us Part 2. And in there, he says he's about to kill a Scar, and his gun's right there. He doesn't go for it. Takes off his hood and shows that it's just an old man. He says that and Owen can tell that he was just ready to die. He was just ready to die, and he did not want to kill him. And this one is pretty much the same scene. Joel sees that the sniper is just this old man, and then you realize that, and Joel just realizes that he doesn't want to kill this man. He doesn't want to end this man's life. But Joel also realizes that he's just doing what he's supposed to do, and he tells him, "Don't do it. Just don't." But the man, he looks like he's just about done. Goes to turn to shoot Joel, but then Joel sadly has to kill him. The first thing that came to my mind was Owen talking about the scar that he protected in The Last of Us Part 2. And it was pretty emotional. This entire episode was pretty emotional. We all choked up, man. And like I said, the infected scene was awesome where Kathleen, I've already forgotten her name. Oh dear God, people are gonna yell at me now. Where she's about to shoot Henry, but then the truck that Joel shot at killed the driver in earlier. It just goes into the ground. Where in episode 4 you saw that the ground and that Kathleen, that's her name, Kathleen and the one guy played by the person who plays Tommy in the games, they go down and see that the ground is kind of like pulsing. I forgot to talk about that. But in this one, they finally show more of that where the truck just comes into the ground and then just a herd, legit herd of infected just come after Kathleen and her group. And then there's people getting torn up left and right. There's a bunch of infected getting shot at. There's pretty much all the people there have just died. And then when that couldn't be any worse, a bloater finally shows up into this series. Now, if you're a fellow fan like me of the games, then you should know that was awesome to see in this series. Because if you played the game, a lot of us fans were probably expecting the bloater to show up in Bill's town because that's when we were first introduced to the bloater. But my god, I think the way that the bloater was introduced in this probably better in Bill's town. Now, don't get me wrong. Bill's town, when they introduced bloater, was awesome. The way they introduced it here was action packed. There was just so much going on. It was just incredible. And one of the things I liked when they brought into the bloater, now, if you played the game, which I said already, if you played the game of The Last of Us, when you're fighting the bloater, you can tell you're a fan like me. Oh god, one sec. Sorry about that, someone just had to call me while I was doing this. Nonetheless, when you're playing the game of The Last of Us, when you're fighting the bloater, if you mess up, he'll just smack you, grab you by both of your jaws, and just rip you apart. Now you don't get to see it fully in the game because reasons, But they did it in this, but they kind of had to blur it out because of MPAA reasons. It was awesome to see that, and it was an awesome Easter egg. Now, I don't know if a lot of people caught it. Maybe I'm one of the few that actually saw that, but I'm glad I noticed that Easter egg, and man, it was just awesome to see the blur, man. Nonetheless, guys, this was an awesome episode, and this is in fact tied for being my favorite episode of the entire series so far. Episode 1 and episode 5 are razor thin edge for being my favorite because this episode was just emotional and just it was just a lot, man. It was a lot to take in with the infected, Henry and Sam emotional. It was just awesome to see all of this come to life, and I'm very excited for next week's episode. So, what did you guys think of The Last of Us episode 5, Endure and Survive? Did you enjoy this episode? Did you not like this episode? Were you finally glad to see the bloater if you're a Last of Us fan like me? And if you're not a Last of Us fan, what did you think of the bloater showing up? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. But until my next movie review or video in general, take care.